Hello and welcome to the Matthew Alton Art channel again. This video is a portrait practice video. I've signed up to Umber Studios, which is an online sort of tutorial reference library as well for artists. And this was the first session that I attended. It was a portrait session on last Sunday. And lots of people joined the session. There's a tutor that takes you through the drawing from their perspective and how they go about it. And you can draw along at the same time or just watch the video. I drew along. And those of you who follow the channel will notice that I started with a circle for the cranium of the skull here, which isn't normal for me. And that's because the tutor on the session was doing the Loomis method, which sort of builds a scaffold for you to put all of the features of the face on it. Because the pose was 3/4 on and sort of slightly looking down at this model, it got quite complicated quite quickly really, so I abandoned watching the Loomis video at that point, and I just, after I'd drawn the circle, I reverted to type and started by putting the features on and then cross-referencing as I add those features to get the position relative to everything else, the angles relative to everything else, the sizes and that sort of thing. So sort of triangulating it into being. I did watch the Loomis video after the event, and it seemed quite complicated to me. I'm quite happy doing it in the way that I do it, but it certainly was a good video, and the tutor certainly knew what they were talking about. You can see I'm using a brown pencil here, and that's because the tutor was using a coloured pencil. I think they were using a red coloured pencil. Not something I'm used to using. It's quite waxy feeling compared to a normal pencil. But it was great to be part of the group and to see everybody else's work at the end of the session. I'll post the link to Umber Studios in the description so that anybody who's interested in joining can do so. If you want to attend all of the sessions, there's a subscription which is £13.50 a month, and that gets you access to the image library. There's a searchable image library for all sorts of poses, still lives, nudes, portraits, lots of different searchable categories. And also it gets you free access to each of the sessions. There's a portrait session once a week and a life drawing session once a week. You can just join to access the image library. I think that's £5 a month, I think, something like that. And you can also attend sessions individually by paying £5 for each session that you want to attend. So it's really good. I'd recommend it. I've joined and subscribed for certainly over the winter months while the weather's not so good and I'm not getting out there and doing other things with my life. So you can see that the drawing is progressing quite well. The likeness was quite good generally on this drawing. Built in a very similar way to how I normally build stuff, so starting by adding the head shape. In this case it was a circle to start with, and then an eye, and then looking at where everything else is in relation to that eye, so sort of a triangulation as you create the drawing style of drawing. There's a gallery of work that you can look at afterwards where all the people who are signed on from all over the world can post their images if they want to. You can also tag it with Umber Studios on Instagram, and it will pull it from Instagram if you're on Instagram. But I enjoyed the process. I like drawing older people. I've been doing quite a lot of those recently. They, to me, are easier because there are lots of points where you can reference things, so creases in the face and that sort of thing. So it makes it easier to triangulate, if you ask me. Doing young, beautiful, smooth skin is much more difficult because there are less points of reference to hang everything off. Getting towards completion now. It was odd to have an hour for this sort of thing. I sometimes am much quicker than that, but it was nice to have the freedom to have an hour. Finishing touches now. I was quite pleased with it overall. especially as it was using coloured pencil, which I don't normally use. But the first session was a success, and I actually attended the first life drawing session, and I recorded that as well last night, so I'll be doing that video soon. This image that we were all working from was one of the images from the reference library. But there are loads and loads of videos that you can look at from the past sessions as well if you become a member. Well, this is the final drawing. As I said, it took about an hour. I used the full session. I went back and looked at the actual tutorial afterwards and the Loomis method. But I think mine is okay, considering I didn't use the method that was being used in the session by the tutor. If you are interested, as I say, I will put a link to Umber Studios so that you can subscribe or do the odd session here and there if you want to in the description of the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then give it a thumbs up. That would be really helpful. And if you're new here, then do consider subscribing. I want to grow the channel this year. It's sort of been in a bit of a static state for the last few months, so it'd be great to get the numbers of viewers going up again. Okay, I will see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.